I was just getting ready. I was getting ready to send you all a chat to see if we could go ahead and get started since I'm first on the line. But
We're gonna do Stacy?
Mhm.
Stacy, welcome. This is Councilman Marmero, and how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
Marcia? Any hellos?
Well, Stacy and I know each other. We connect. So there
We
are a
sure
lot of
do.
questions I have for you, Stacy, but I'll let Mr. Marmaru ask his first, and you can go. from there.
Well,
Okay, not a problem.
we need to remember here, Marcia, that Stacy is a reappointment. She's not an appointment. Tell us,
Right.
tell us right now what you think of the board itself, and can we do anything to please you or to run it better or anything that you think is needed?
Um, the only thing that I could say would be to just stress the importance of communication, making sure that people are aware of what is actually going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Because I'm at
definitely.
work, so, okay, just want to make sure. That would be the only thing I would say, just making sure that there, the lines of communication are open, that people are fully aware of what's going on, things are being done with transparency. So that,
Thank you.
I understand there's not a lot that you can, always share, but, whatever that you're able to do, that information is shared with the community. But that would be it for me.
And do you feel that you are finalizing or working within the bounds of the purpose of the housing authority? Do you think we're doing our job?
I believe, from what the information that I've been given as far as human relations is concerned, that yes, you're doing what needs to be done, what can be done. I at this point, with the moratorium situation being the way that it is, I would just be concerned with the um, the outcomes of the magistrate's office and working with you all and in the community, because sometimes we have questions when we're having our meetings to find out what is it that we're able to do to assist to ensure that um, that the magistrate's office are aware of the concerns that we have coming through the human relations office, and that the object is to help to ensure that people are able to stay in their homes, and at the same time making sure that these landlords and or homeowners are doing what they can to make sure that they're providing adequate housing for individuals, and are not like piling people in, like herding them in and just charging them astronomical rates as far as rent is concerned, because I think that's the main concern, is just that people can't afford the rent, and you get these high dollar value properties, and then they don't have the income levels to be able to sustain. So I think that's the main concern.
Go ahead, Marcia.
Yeah, and I guess, Stacy, one of the issues, and I'm sure it's impacted you as far as the moratorium on rent payments. I think that's being upheld locally,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily, we don't know what's going to be happening at the national level.
Right.
How do you think that's going to affect people moving forward as they now need to start paying rent at some point?
It's going to be tough because, like I said, if they move forward with things and not realizing or not giving people the assistance that they need, people are going to find themselves out of their homes, and they're going to be packed into homes that are not suitable for, say, just for an example, say a house that has maybe 2 bedrooms. You probably got 8, 9, maybe 10 people living in a house, because they have no place to go. There's nothing that they can afford, because, well, either one, they don't have a job, and or they don't make enough to be able to afford the property. So I think something has to give, where people are going to have to just sit back and just apply some common sense, but yet and still be able to enforce the laws. But like I said, have some compassion for people, because it's not doable just yet that people can afford the rents that are out there. And coming out of this pandemic situation, it's going to be tough.
And just a little bit to add to that, one of the things that we're seeing is more people are moving from areas where they find that they can afford to pay the rent in Reading. And I think it's going to displace a lot of people who can't afford it. And we're going to have a real situation, like you said, people moving into crowded situations,
Mhm.
couch surfing, all of that kind of thing.
Right. And then you have those landlords who are allowing the properties, to become unlivable, almost to the point where they're unlivable, meaning that they're not keeping them up adequately. You know what I'm saying? As far as maybe the plumbing is concerned, maybe as far as electricity is concerned. But yeah. So there's going to be concerns on all parts, and people should be able to, address those issues with the landlord, but not being subject to being thrown out because they have brought up or raised some concerns.
If you let me,
Sure.
Stacy, let me ask you something. Let's jump back to, there's a home, we'll say, and it's a husband and wife.
Mhm.
And a week goes by, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by, and there's 8 and 9 people in that home.
Mhm.
Do you get involved in something like this?
We have heard about it. Like I said, it's some things that are brought up within our commission meetings, and the director, just try to address the issues with those individuals, so letting them know that you can't do this because of the fact that it's a safety hazard, and then because of the property probably not being up to standards and or up to code, you can't charge people this kind of money to be able to stay in these properties. So yeah, we've heard about them, but as soon as you go in and you address it, okay, yes, they move the people out of the homes to only having what's allowed or um, they can accommodate. But then as soon as you leave, they come right back again. So they come back again because one, they can't afford to live on their own in a house or a property because they can't afford it. And so, they pull their resources together so that they're able to be able to afford some place to live. But at the same time, like I said, it's a safety issue. So
Uh, I've seen a lot of this, what I just brought up, and it appears that the people that are allowing people to move in are relatives, okay?
mhm,
But they should be charging them because sooner or later, now I just received a letter today, maybe you did, Marcia, I don't know, about trash, okay? Where this lady had a home and she converted the home and she started taking people in. Well, by taking people in, that increased the cost of trash removal,
mhm,
okay?
mhm.
She objects to this. Maybe this is one of the reasons why these people are not forwarding their names or not, well, I don't know, just letting the houses get, and I'll tell you, they're being run down.
They
I
are
can take you
with
right
blighted
now,
properties.
I could take you right now and show you some homes right now that you would be sick if you
Mhm.
saw. Well,
Right. No,
okay,
I understand it, but I think we all play a part. And when I say we all, I mean as a community, we play a part in this. That um, I understand that we all do. You have to pay rent to live someplace. Yes, that makes sense. You have to do that. However, what doesn't make sense is we have these properties that we know, and even the owners know that they're not worth $800, $900 to $1,000. For me myself, and I've never lived in one, but I've always heard about the rent control properties in New York, and people stay there for a lifetime. Maybe it's something that we need to consider and entertain here because of the fact we have to be able to provide people with adequate housing, and then something that is safe for them to be able to come into with their families, but also something that they can afford. Because when, like I said, when the average was, I just read an article the other day. They said the median income was what, $23,000 to $28,000. How can you afford $900 a month on $23,000? And it's not these homes where there's two adults working. There's usually one adult and 2 or 3 kids, and or if there are two, it's like I said, it's tough.
Well, Stacy, I just really think that your sensibility and knowledge that you bring to the table will be good. If there's anything the city needs to do, though, to have further discussion about the housing crisis, because I think that's where we're getting at right now.
yeah,
Mhm. Yeah,
I really think it's something we need to be addressing because more and more people are going to be pushed out of their homes. As landlords go, if they have people that are offering them good money for their properties, they're gonna sell out and they're not gonna rent to lower income people.
Mhm.
And that's what I start seeing downtown.
Right, and that's not fair because of the fact everyone has to have some place to live. You know what I'm saying? You're still going to get rent, but we have to either bring better jobs in that people are getting paid better money, and or we have to somehow figure out how to control the rent that's being charged within the city because people cannot afford it.
Really, Stacy, I don't think that's the case all the time. I think people that are bringing in relatives and stuff in the house with these people, money is not an issue. Money is not. I'll tell you, in this particular place I'm talking about, it was a husband and wife.
Mhm.
Now, there's 8 people in that house,
Mhm.
5 cars, okay?
I know.
And everybody is working.
Mhm.
So, it's not a case where there's no money involved.
Right.
They-
Yeah, no,
they just-
I agree with you on that because I can see it on my street where I live at. I live up in the Glenside area, right across from the Lutheran church, and the people that live in Glenside, they park on my street, so I don't have I don't have a parking space in front of my house, and it's like people who live on the road with me, like you said, they have 3, 4, 5 cars to one house, and it's like, come on, this is ridiculous. It's like, where are you supposed to park? But at the same time, the people that are living in the housing projects, they're parking like on the corners of the housing on the streets in the projects, like they do in Philadelphia, right on the curb. And it's like, how can you afford to have that many cars in those houses, in those properties? And you have to be able to do something. And it's like, okay, do we build more parking spaces, and then do we charge people money for their cars because we just can't do it? But like I said, you have to be able to provide them with housing that they can afford for those who do need the assistance.
I don't mean to be cynical, but I think they have more square footage in their cars than they do in their homes.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, for some spaces, yes.
I can see you're interested and knowledgeable of what's going on, and
Mhm.
I don't
yeah.
have anything else, Marcia. How about you?
No, I just really am, you know what I feel, Stacy, you just need to be able to keep part of our team here.
Right. As long as I can do something to assist, just let me know, and I feel like I
Okay.
can reach out to you all to help wherever. So
And,
I think.
and thank you for reapplying.
Oh, you're welcome. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Can I have one moment to check my email? I think I saw a message come through from
You know what?
Maria.
I don't know if it's you. I can just about hear it.
I don't know, did you get new ones or? It sometimes takes time to readjust.
I've had them over a week. This is the first time I had a problem today.
Yeah, but those speakers aren't that loud. Now, if you're really sophisticated and do what my husband does, he gets a Wi-Fi connection with these things, and then he hears right into his hearing aid.
That's Maria.
You can't get in? You couldn't get in? Okay, come, do you have your mask?
No.
You don't need your laptop if you're sitting at the table.
Do you want me to get my mask?
No, I'll relocate.
Yeah, I said.
I was just checking my emails. If you could sit next to Marcia so you're on
Don't have
camera.
my stuff here. Okay.
And I don't know if you want to do Maria next or Jim, who's on the call.
Jim, do you mind waiting a few minutes?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hey, how are you, Maria? Good, good, good. This won't take long, okay? Tell us why you're interested in serving.
Well, I've been working with the community for about 25 years. First with children's services, when I used to visit their houses and make assessment, of the living spaces and everything. And then at the Hispanic Center, where I worked for 18 years, I was a caseworker for the seniors, and I used to help them find, housing. So I think that with, the skills that I learned with them, it will help me be like a liaison between renting housing and the community.
Something came up at the last interview, if I may, Marcia.
We actually fit together.
I come to you, I'm looking to get into housing. And it's my wife and I. And you get us in there. And I don't know, do you go around then and check later on? How we're doing in that house? Are we keeping it proper or this and that?
Me as a caseworker,
Yes,
yes,
okay. Now you came in to visit and you're in there and next thing you know, it isn't just my wife and I. You see 7, 8, 9 people in there with all their clothes and everything else. What do you do?
we had to report that to the main house here.
Okay, and what do they do?
Where they're supposed to go and check,
Yes,
is there somebody else living there that is not on the list?
okay. And that is taking place, believe me, that's taking place. And what do they give them so much time to get out or?
Yeah, sometimes they give them a certain time because sometimes I believe that they could have like family members visiting. Like let's say a week, you can have a family member just visiting, but nobody living in there, you know.
Mhm.
But if they're living there, they give them a certain amount of time to leave.
Do you have any suggestions for this, the operation?
Right now, I don't know the whole operation of the board or
Get
the
away.
wedding housing. Yeah, I need to be there
Yeah,
and see what's going on.
good idea.
Yeah, and I appreciate your background. I'm an alumni of Children Youth too, but I think I left or before you came
Okay.
on board, so.
Well, I was working with other like with the let me see, it was the Hispanic Center and it was with Dr. Ivan Torres.
Right,
Through then with Children's Services, it's like an independent
yeah, I
contractor.
remember that, yeah,
Yes.
he was that's how I met Ivan.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yes, I was.
I missed him dearly, but.
Yes.
Yeah, but okay, so I think you have a good grasp on the housing situation. And I think the major change that happened through my career is the, development of the Section 8 as being a much stronger option
Yeah.
than building new housing developments. What do you think of the whole issue of the fact that most of the low-income housing is located in the city rather than being spread out throughout the county? Because I think that's a policy issue for the housing authority.
It is, I don't know if it's a policy issue of them, but I think it should be, go out of the city too, because I think there's a necessity.
Now,
Because
when
a
I
lot of
say
people
that,
applying and they can't find housing here.
right, and what it does, it concentrates the poverty within the city
Exactly.
limits. But when I say a policy, as a member of the board, you could be asking those questions as far as when they look at where they're purchasing property, where the
That's a great
Section
idea.
8 vouchers are gone. Aren't there are poor people that live outside the city. I mean, Kutztown is the second poorest community in Berks County, interestingly enough. And a lot of pockets of rural poverty all over the place.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I do hear from people that have voucher from Section 8 that can't find anything. And they're desperate because they say, I have certain amount of time or find something or I'll lose my voucher. And sometimes they can't find anything. That's true.
So it looks like you're like really primed and ready to be
Yeah,
appointed
I
here.
think so.
Thank
We're
you.
getting a jewel here.
Do you have any questions for us at all?
No, I mean, I served to another board for the Human Relations Commission for Harrisburg. That's the
Oh,
only
great.
other board that I served.
Yeah.
And I really like this one. I really interested in this one. I think I could, accomplish a lot of things in here.
Well, Maria, I don't have anything else. I don't think.
Just excited because of your background. I'm a social worker by.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
great.
so I
You know
think
how it is.
Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you,
Oh.
the places
Yes.
we've had to go into.
The things that you have to do and see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can see we're very informal here.
That's good.
That's good.
I couldn't get in the meeting. I said, oh my God, I can't get in. So the friend told me to come in. He said, go there. I said, okay.
Well, I don't have anything else. And
So what we'll do is the resolutions to make the appointment come up on our Monday meeting, and then you'll be asked to come in and sign some documentation.
Okay. no
Okay.
problem.
but you got to take us out for dinner.
Well, that's good. Who's gonna pay?
Oh,
Oh my God. Okay.
now wait a minute, right?
Just kidding. That's it. That's it.
Okay. Thank you for taking your time for coming.
You're
in today.
welcome.
Take care.
And we have a real old man coming on next to
Really?
get interviewed.
Good luck.
Wow, thanks, Fred.
Well, that was a real intro. I don't know what I'd say to him, Jim.
Wow.
Well, Jim, I've been looking at you now for the last half hour.
Yes,
All righty, you know Jim.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yeah.
Jim.
and let me just tell you, I'm sitting in Santa Fe, New Mexico on vacation. So if that's any indication how serious I am about being reappointed, I think that speaks for itself, I hope.
Yeah, I know. I did one set of meetings when I was on vacation too.
Well, look how clear that is from there, and no problem. But that first lady, what's her name, Stacy, I could just about make her out.
It depends on your Wi-Fi. He's going through satellite. That's why he's getting a good connection.
Good, good.
Well, Jim, I know you like what you're doing,
Yes.
okay? Do you have any suggestions? Since I'm on the board too, maybe I shouldn't be questioning. I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
You can put it out there.
Do you have any suggestions how we can improve our positions out at the stadium?
Well, I guess what might be helpful, I mean, we have you on as a liaison, Strat, and that's really helpful, I think, to have that connection with city council. And I know when I think I went in front of council to give my yearly report, I think a comment was that we stay connected and we continue to have information flow back and forth as to what your concerns are and ours. And I sort of always relied on you as a liaison to be able to share some of the things that we're doing.
Yes,
I don't know if that's been enough or if there needs to be more communication with the president of city council or whoever, so that we do have this, back and forth feedback as to what's going on.
well, really, Jim, anything I'm gonna bring up, you submit on your report.
Correct.
Linda gets a copy, the mayor gets a copy, the president of gets a copy.
Right.
And I know we're trying to follow everything that's needed out there.
Yeah.
And with this last incident now, with this money that we need,
Yeah.
council, administration, everybody's working together to solve this problem.
Correct.
I want to be able to say though, the communication, that's a really good example, wasn't what it needed to be, because I found out about it through an article in the Reading Eagle. Okay, granted, you are our liaison, Strat, so, we weren't aware of anything that was cooking until formally, and so we had to do a lot of backpedaling, and I know it got some people on council very concerned. So I think if you can be our eyes and ears out there, and if anything comes up that's that immense, to red flag it and to be able to say, hey, I think council needs to have this brought to their attention. That doesn't go through just a normal, hey, it's in the minutes kind of thing, but it's communicated. It was very strange the way the whole thing came down, and we resolved it. But I think if it had started out better, it might have gotten this to a better place easier.
I think you're absolutely right. And I think we kind of, we assume some things sometimes. I assumed that people knew and whatever, and that was an error on my part.
Sure.
We had Scott come in and address us, and he was saying he was already at the mayor's office and that he wanted a letter
Yeah.
from us to go to the mayor's office. So what I guess what my feeling was, once the mayor's office knew, I somewhat assumed, and again, it was my mistake,
Right, exactly.
that you guys knew the same information, and that wasn't true at all. And so
No.
I have to make sure that even
Right.
if I repeat what you already know, I think that's okay to make
Yeah.
sure that you guys do have the information. So
And we will be asking our liaison to be doing the same thing too, because that's the
Right.
purpose of having a
But see,
liaison.
you had asked for something I didn't even have.
Yeah.
Okay, the minutes of the meeting, of what took place at the meeting. Actually, at that meeting though, Jim, this was not brought up.
Well, of course, our meetings, sometimes we have our minutes and things are discussed in the meeting, and until it's approved, it doesn't get to you, and
Right,
sometimes
right,
there's 2 months in between our meetings since we
right.
only meet 6 times a year. It does lag, and so you don't get that official meeting sheet until it's approved. So there
Yeah, I
is
hear
a
what you're saying.
built-in lag time there.
Yeah, so anyhow, it's just that I think we all need to work on communication, certainly throughout City Hall with the council and with the Stadium Commission, because as we look at this, as it's moves itself through the process, for instance, I became aware, and I don't even know if the Stadium Commission is aware of this, but there possibly is federal legislation that's going to be setting aside money for minor league teams. Okay, and a gentleman in the community made me aware of that. So I'm thinking that should probably go to the Stadium Commission and I'm hoping the Fighting Phils are aware of it.
Yeah.
I think the Phils are involved or they know about this. You recall they mentioned something, they didn't know all the facts. But when they mentioned the city, the county, the state, okay, and themselves, they did mention the possibility of monies coming from the federal government,
Right.
but no actual details.
Right.
And again, just to mention a rumor, it's not gonna work. Sport. I don't wanna bring rumors in here. I wanna see it. Know what I mean? Like,
It's not rumors, you do research through
Yeah.
there's ways to find that out. That's why you have your state representatives or your congressmen and their staff. They can always do the research. I just think it's really interesting because unfortunately or fortunately, with this time we're in, the money sort of flows like, whatever. It just comes really quickly. It gets turned around really quickly and it doesn't always lend itself to the best decision making. So those that find out about it are sure they're going to be the first up asking for what they might need. And it's all legitimate, things. It's just the way the process works.
Exactly. I try to keep in contact with Scott Hunsinger, quite a bit and just share things. So I am as informed as I can be to share with the members of the commission. And just let me add, I really believe that the commission has taken on a very responsible role here. I think more
Right.
so than it has in any previous year, at least recently anyways, that we are respected. I think we have a place. I think you've helped give us some of that, respect. I truly feel like we're a part of this whole thing and not just a bunch of guys sitting in a room talking baseball. We have a responsibility to the city, to the team. And I think we all on the commission realize that we are an important part of this whole process.
But Jim, I'll tell you, since you took over, I've seen more involvement from you and the commission, but you primarily than we ever did, than we ever had.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Strad. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I
I
do
wanna
believe
thank you
that
for
was
that.
started through Anna Rose, kind of got us a little bit started. And, we looked at procedures and we renewed everything and looked at everything. And so we, during the past couple of years, we just set the foundation for us to continue to move forward in a respectable kind of way. So,
Mhm.
Now, I could, if you don't mind,
Yeah, I have a question. need to
I
ask
can
you.
bring up, when I was the chair many, many years ago, we had a lot of communication with the city, a lot of communication. But now it's come back.
Right.
It disappeared there for a while, but now it's come back and I'm proud of you.
good. Thank you, Strad. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And Jim, there was an issue, and I asked Anna Rose when she was interviewed, and I'm still going to be pressing the Stadium Commission on this. The fact is that the stadium is owned by the city, and the city has certain policies about indoor and outdoor smoke-free areas. For whatever reason, and I really am not was never happy with the leadership at the stadium when they decided to put in the vaping lounge, which was at the very front entrance, which sent the really wrong message. And now that we know that vaping's been documented by the CDC, the FDA as being just as dangerous as cigarette smoking, I almost feel like I can't agree to anything with the stadium until they come, do the right thing by this. And I don't know how the Stadium Commission might fit in. The city could take action. We have all the legal grounds to take action and enforce what our policies are on property that we own. But I don't want to stir things up in the outside world, if you know what I mean, because that's not good PR for the Fighting Phils at this point. So I wondered what you might suggest, because it's really bad optics and it's not good health either.
Yes, and I remember you talking about this before. I think when I initially came on the board, I think
Right.
you did bring it up at that time. It's one of those things that was a little can of worms, I guess, call it. We weren't sure what to do with it. Let me just say this. I think it's something that we do need to address. I think the commission has just ignored it. I understand your feelings about this, and I think it has to be addressed at some point. And
And I guess what,
yeah, we can always find reasons not to do it. Right now, well, we got all these other things. We have all these other things. Maybe.
well, let me pass it on. Now, we did pass the resolution to commit the money. I will not vote for the money with that not being addressed, but I don't want to make it a big public stink issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather we could work together, and I can help you with whatever education's needed through the tobacco control person where I work. And just see what we can do to make inroads with the leadership at the Fighting Phils about this. It's not
Yeah.
their choice, it's the city's choice, and I hope I have your support on that, Strat. You always have in the past.
Mhm. What I would do, Marcia, is I will get that on the agenda before the end of the year, if that's okay.
Right. That's
can't
good,
take-
yeah.
I'm going to do it
Yeah.
at the next meeting, but I will get that on the agenda before this year is out, and at least begin the dialogue that we can talk about this and maybe get some feel about how we approach it and move it forward. So I commit that to you, that we will
Yeah.
have it on the agenda before the end of the year.
Yeah, and let them know that I've been very quiet about this because I wanted to try to work it out behind the scenes.
You're right. Yes.
Okay.
yes. I commit to that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I don't have anything else.
No, it's just really great to see you. I hope to see you soon in person.
I hope so too. I hope
I
so
was
too.
not for every game, Jim, even yesterday.
Yeah, good.
He's not though. He's at a place he can't be. Oh, well. Are you going to any games out there?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So anyways,
Yeah.
take care. Thank you so much.
Saturday, Jim, they had a packed house.
Good day.
It was packed.
I just wish they were playing a little better. I'll tell you, they're not doing so hot.
It seems like they're gonna do it and then they just,
I know. Oh, well. Oh, well.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice
And we'll
day.
see you when you get back.
Sounds good.
Right.
At least you get some work done with it.
Yeah, do you understand what I'm saying about that issue, though, Strat? I
I-
feel like
I-
we've, yeah, would you please, yeah. I feel like we have enabled them to do what they wanted to do, to